Want to speak real Spanish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at SpanishPod101.com.
Hi, welcome to Introduction to Spanish. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Leah.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Spanish grammar. Word order refers to the order in which words are structured to form a sentence in a given language. Consider the English sentence, I read books. If we break down the English sentence, I read books, we can see that the subject I is presented first, followed by the verb read, and then finally the object, books, is positioned last. The basic word order for English, then, is subject, verb, object, or SVO for short.
Now, let's compare that same sentence, I read books, in Spanish. Yo leo libros. If we break down the Spanish sentence, we get the subject, yo, meaning I. Then comes the verb, leo, meaning read. And finally, we have the object, libros, meaning books. The word order for basic Spanish, then, is subject, verb, object, or SVO for short.
As you can see, the word order for sentences in Spanish is the same as that of English. This means that you can essentially swap out English words for Spanish words in an English sentence to convert it to Spanish. So imagine you wanted to say, I ate an apple, but in Spanish. Just swap out the words.
I in Spanish is yo. Ate in Spanish is comí. An is una, and apple is manzana. Altogether, it's yo comí una manzana.
So, I ate an apple in Spanish is...
Yo comí una manzana.
You can form nearly all basic sentences in Spanish just by following the SVO word order. We just saw how easy it was to form basic sentences in Spanish and how similar it was to forming basic English sentences. Luckily, it's actually even easier to form sentences in Spanish than it is in English. That's because Spanish is much more flexible when it comes to word order compared to English. Let's go back to the two examples we used earlier. More often than not, if we wanted to say, I read books and I ate an apple in Spanish, we would not usually say,
Yo leo libros. Yo comí una manzana.
But instead we would just say,
Leo libros. Comí una manzana.
Notice how the subject I is omitted from the sentence. This is how most Spanish sentences are constructed and spoken in real life.
When it's clear who or what the subject is, most Spanish speakers would omit the subject altogether. Yo leo libros and yo comí una manzana would only be used if the subject is unclear or if you wanted to place a stronger emphasis on the subject, as if to say, I am the one who reads books, or I was the one who ate the apple.
So, most of the time, we can actually express any simple action in Spanish with just two words, the verb and the object in Spanish. So far, we've only looked at affirmative sentences in Spanish. But what if you wanted to make the sentence negative?
Well, that's very easy as well. All you have to do is just add no before the verb and that's it.
So, I don't read books would be
No leo libros. Same thing for I didn't eat an apple. Just add no before the verb. No comí una manzana. And that's all there is to it.
Once again, it's much simpler to form questions in Spanish than it is in English.
There's actually a variety of different methods of forming a question in Spanish. Let's go through some of them. Will seem a little strange if we ask our own selves a question in Spanish. So let's introduce a new subject. Let's go with Juan, a very typical Spanish name. So instead of I read books, we now have Juan reads books. Juan lee libros.
The simplest way we can turn that statement into a question is by just raising our intonation at the end of the sentence.
Juan lee libros? Meaning, does Juan read books?
In conversation, we just need to raise the intonation at the end to express that it's a question. In writing, however, we have to include the question mark at the end, just like in English. But unlike English, questions in Spanish are marked with an inverted question mark at the beginning of the question as well.
Juan lee libros?
Another simple way we can turn a statement into a question is by adding a question tag at the end of a sentence. One question tag in English, for example, is right? Something something statement, right? It works in exactly the same way in Spanish.
Juan lee libros, no? Juan reads books, doesn't he?
The final way to make a sentence in Spanish is to actually switch the verb and the subject. So statements in Spanish would normally be SVO, but to formulate a question, it'll be VSO. The verb and subject are switched.
¿Lee Juan libros? Meaning, does Juan read books?
All of these questions mean the same thing, but they're not completely identical. There are tiny nuances that go along with the method you use to formulate a question.
The first and last examples appear to have exactly the same meaning, but Juan lee libros places a greater emphasis on Juan because the subject appears first in the sentence, as opposed to lee Juan libros, where the emphasis is on the verb.
As you can see, there are many ways to form basic questions in Spanish. In this lesson, you learned about the word order of Spanish, how to form affirmative and negative sentences, about the omission of the subject, and how to form questions. We've covered only the very basics of Spanish grammar. If you're interested in learning more, check out our Spanish in 3 Minutes video series. In that course, we teach you useful phrases while covering the fundamentals of Spanish grammar, and each lesson is only 3 minutes long. See you in the next lesson. Bye!
Bye!
Hola a todos, soy Lucía. Hi everybody, I'm Lucía. Welcome to SpanishPod101.com's Español en 3 minutos, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Spanish. In the last lesson, we learned how to show thanks by saying gracias. In this lesson, we will learn some of the most common greetings used in Spanish. ¿Están listos? Are you ready? Empecemos, let's start. The most used informal greeting is hola. Hola. Hola means hi or hello. We can use it in formal and informal situations at any time of day. It's very convenient. Hola. Now, let's look at some greetings that are used at certain times of day. First is good morning. Good morning in Spanish is buenos días. Buenos días. Buenos días literally means good day, but we use it to mean good morning. During the day, we say buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes means good afternoon. This can be used all day as long as it's light outside. Again, buenas tardes. When it starts to get dark, you can switch to this. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Buenas noches means good evening or good night, depending on the situation. If you're greeting someone in the evening, it means good evening. If you're speaking to someone before you go to sleep, it means good night. Again, that's buenas noches. Now, you can greet people in many different ways in Spanish. Let's review them all again. As a general greeting, hola. In the morning, buenos días. In the afternoon or during the day, buenas tardes. In the evening or at night, buenas noches. Pretty easy, right? Now it's time for Lucia's insights. If you're not sure which greeting is right to use, buenos días, buenas tardes, or buenas noches, just remember that hola can be used at any time of day. During the next lesson, you will learn the meaning of habla inglés. Do you already know it? In our next lesson, you will learn this phrase and more. Hasta la próxima. See you then.
Hello everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is, how can you tell if a noun is masculine or feminine? In Spanish, every noun has a gender. That applies to plural nouns too. Other Romance languages have masculine and feminine nouns too. It's a trait that comes from Latin, and the gender can depend on its origin in an older Latin word. English doesn't have masculine or feminine nouns, so the easiest way to tell the gender of a noun is to take a look at the last letter of a noun. The general rule is that if a noun ends in A, it is feminine. For example, la manzana, the apple, la ventana, the window, and la casa, the house. Nouns that end in O are generally masculine. For example, el horno, the oven, el perro, the dog, and el libro, the book. The only thing is, there are a lot of exceptions. For example, el mapa, which is the map, even though it ends in A, it is masculine, and el día, meaning the day, which is also masculine. Some other examples are la foto, meaning the photo, which is feminine even though it ends in an O, and la mano, the hand, which is also feminine. Because there are so many exceptions, it's best to learn the nouns with their articles. These are the and a in English. For Spanish, it would be el or un for masculine words, and la or una for feminine words. However, O and A are not the only indicators for masculine and feminine words. Here are a few others. Nouns that end in I, ma, or an accented vowel such as I are often masculine. For example, el perfume, the perfume, el programa, the program, el colibrí, the hummingbird, are all masculine. On the other hand, nouns that end in D, Z, or ion are normally feminine. For example, la felicidad, the happiness, la nariz, the nose, and la religión, the religion, are feminine. It's important to remember what gender a noun is because it sometimes influences other parts of the sentence. They modify. Adjectives in particular change their spelling according to the gender of the nouns they modify. It goes a bit like this. A notebook, un cuaderno, is masculine. So to say a red notebook, you could say un cuaderno rojo. An apple, una manzana, is feminine. So a red apple could be una manzana roja, with rojo changing to roja, ending with an A. I hope that answers the questions. If you have any more questions, please let them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. ¡Hasta luego! Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: when do we use porque, 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 and porque? Porque, 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 separated, together, with an accent, without an accent? What's the difference? In this lesson, we'll teach you how to choose the right one. Let's start with porque, all one word with an accent over the E. This is a masculine substantive meaning cause, motive, or reason. Normally, an article precedes it. An example could be: no quiero saber el porqué. In this case, the meaning is: I don't want to know the cause, motive, or reason. It also has the plural form, los porqués. Next, let's move on to porque, separated with an accent over the E. This phrase is used to ask about the cause, the reason, or motive of something. It is comprised of the preposition por and the interrogative pronoun que. The accent mark distinguishes it from the relative conjunction que. In this case, porque functions as why. For example, ¿por qué no has llegado antes? Meaning, why didn't you come earlier? Here, we are asking what the cause or reason is for why the person didn't come sooner. To answer the question, ¿por qué?, we often use our next word, porque. All one word and no accent over the E. It's a conjunction used to introduce subordinate sentences that express cause. For example, no pude venir más temprano porque he perdido el tren, meaning I couldn't come before because I lost the train. In this case, porque functions as because. Our last one is porque, separated and no accent over the E. There are two grammatical uses for this one. The first use is the preposition por plus the relative pronoun que. For example, son varios los motivos porque te llamo. Literally, there are various reasons for which I call you. Sometimes you can find an article between por and que. Por el que, por la que, por los que, or por las que. Usually it means for which. In the second use, it's comprised of the preposition por plus the subordinating conjunction que. We find it when we have specific verbs that require the preposition por. For example, estoy contento porque vengas a visitarme. Literally translated as I'm happy for that you are going to visit me. So remember, porque, the reason, is a noun. ¿Por qué? Why makes questions. Porque, because, answers questions. And por qué, for which or verbs that require por. How was it? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta luego, see you later! Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: how can I decide if I have to write B or V in Spanish? In Spanish, the letter B and the letter V have the same sound, but they are written differently. So, how do you know which one to use? Despite some exceptions, there are some rules that can help you to pick which letter to use. Let's start with B. The words that usually use B can be divided in 4 groups. First, all the words that begin with bu, bien or bene, and B. For example, butaca, meaning armchair, bienestar, meaning wellness, and bisonte, bison. Second, all the words that end in bilidad, bundo or bunda. For example, amabilidad, kindness, moribundo, moribund, and nauseabunda, nauseating. Third, all the verbs whose infinitive forms end with ver, bir, and buir. For example, beber, to drink, saber, to know, and escribir, to write. Fourth and last, all of the past imperfect verbs whose first conjugation ends in aba. For example, compraba, I was buying, or cantaba, I was singing. Now let's see the rules for V. The words that usually use V can be divided in 4 groups. First, all the words that begin with V, div, ev. For example, vivir, to live, divertido, funny, and evento, event. Second, all the forms in present indicative, imperative, and subjunctive of the verb ir, to go. For example, voy, I go, or ve, you go, in the imperative. Third, all the adjectives that end in ave, abo, evo, and ivo. For example, suave, soft, and decisivo, decisive. Fourth and last, after be, di, en, or all. For example, obviar, to obviate, advertir, to warn, enviar, to send, olvidar, to forget. And that's it. But as you might already know, Spanish always has tricky exceptions, but don't worry, you'll get used to them in no time. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta pronto, see you soon! Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: how do I use the pronoun se as an indirect object? Se creates a lot of confusion for students because there are several uses and functions for se in Spanish. In this lesson, we'll see se used as a third-person pronoun functioning as an indirect object. This means that we'll use se when it means a él or a ella, for him or for her, and a ellos or a ellas, both meaning for them. First, let's remember that in Spanish, you can say a él or a ella using the particle le, and a ellos or a ellas using the particle les. Instead of a, you can also use para. Le and les are indirect objects, and to recognize them, we have to see to whom the action of the verb goes. Like, for example, in this sentence, Marta compró un regalo para su novio, meaning Marta bought a present for her boyfriend. We can also say Marta le compró un regalo, meaning Marta bought him a present. The personal pronoun se as an indirect object is used instead of le or les when se comes before one of the pronouns lo, la, los, or las when they are acting as direct objects. Let's do some examples so you can learn how to use se as an indirect object correctly. From the sentence le di las llaves, meaning I gave him the keys, you can say se las di, meaning I gave them to him. Here, se replaces the indirect object le, and la replaces the direct object the keys. From les compré un libro, I bought them a book, we get se lo compré, I bought it for them. Here, se replaces the indirect object les before the direct object lo. Let's do one more example. Abrí la puerta a la profesora. I opened the door for the teacher. La puerta, the door, is the direct object as it's the thing that we open. And a la profesora, literally meaning for the teacher, is the indirect object because it's the person to whom the action goes. So using the pronouns, it could become se la abrí, meaning I opened it for her. Se is for her and la is the door. This way we can refer to the things or people we've already talked about without having to repeat them. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. See you later. Hasta luego. Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: how can I use the pronoun se reciprocally? In this lesson, we are going to focus on another common and important usage of the pronoun se. Okay, let's go! We can see the reciprocal pronoun se when we have two or more subjects who are doing the same action to each other. Here, se would function as the direct object, but will be the indirect object if there's another direct object that is formally expressed. Let's take, for example, Carlos y Juan se pelean, meaning Carlos and Juan fight with each other. Here, se acts as the direct object because the thing that they are fighting is themselves. Another example would be: los amigos se escriben cartas, literally meaning The friends write letters among them. Here, the direct object is cartas, letters, which is the thing that they are writing, and se acts as the indirect object as it's to whom the action goes. A helpful tip to identify this kind of se is to add el uno al otro, meaning to each other, el uno con el otro, literally meaning one with the other, mutuamente, meaning mutually, or reciprocamente, meaning reciprocally, to the end of the sentence. If the sentence's meaning doesn't change, we need to use reciprocal se. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. See you later. Hasta luego.
Hi everyone, this is Rosa. Today we'll be doing the 15 questions you should know in Spanish. So let's begin. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? ¿Cómo estás? Which is how are you? ¿Cómo estáis? Are you fine? So for example, when you meet a friend, you would say, Hola, ¿cómo estás? I think you can use it with almost everyone. Like, it's not like super informal or anything, so. ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? Mi nombre es Rosa. My name is Rosa. What's your name? Tell me. Are you Bob? Or maybe Christine? ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? What's your phone number? The next question is, ¿cuál es tu número de teléfono? What's your telephone number? My telephone number is 621. No. In Spain, the telephone code, country code is 34. ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? When is your birthday? ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? When is your birthday? So, mi cumpleaños es el 21 de noviembre. My birthday is the 21st of November. When is yours? Tell me. I'm going to guess when your birthday is, so maybe the 2nd of May? ¿Qué tipo de música te gusta? What type of music do you like? ¿Qué tipo de música te gusta? What type of music do you like? So, do you like pop, rock, hip hop, R&B, reggae? I don't know. Tell me. ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? Yo soy de España. So tell me where you're from. Maybe you're from Italy or from the United States. ¿Dónde aprendiste español? Where did you learn Spanish? ¿Dónde aprendiste español? Where did you learn Spanish? I learned Spanish at home. Where did you learn it? Maybe at a class or with these videos, maybe? ¿Dónde está el baño? Where is the bathroom? ¿Dónde está el baño? Where is the toilet? So for example, when you are at the restaurant and you want to go to the toilet, you can ask the waiter, ¿Dónde está el baño? And yeah, he will tell you. ¿Dónde trabajas? Where do you work? The next question is, ¿Dónde trabajas? Which is, where do you work? Do you work in a company? Or maybe you're a freelancer? For example, I don't know, if you're at a party and you meet someone, ¿Dónde trabajas? ¿Cuáles son tus aficiones? What are your hobbies? ¿Cuáles son tus aficiones? Which is, what are your hobbies? If you like traveling, reading, taking photos, drawing, watching films, cooking. ¿Durante cuánto tiempo has estudiado español? How long have you been studying Spanish? The next question is, ¿durante cuánto tiempo has estudiado español? For how long have you been studying Spanish? It's a long process, but it will be worth it. Yeah. ¿Has estado en España? Have you been to Spain? So the next question is, ¿has estado en España? Have you been to Spain? And if so, where have you been to? Don't forget to go to the south of Spain. It's very beautiful. ¿Qué es esto? What's this? ¿Qué es esto? What is this? So yeah, you can just point at something and ask another person, ¿qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? Can you guess? ¿Qué has dicho? What did you say? ¿Qué has dicho? Which is, what did you say? When you didn't understand well what another person said, you can tell them, ¿qué has dicho? ¿Te gusta la comida española? Do you like Spanish food? ¿Te gusta la comida española? Do you like Spanish food?
So, do you like Spanish omelets? Or what else can you like? Do you like gazpacho? So, yep, this is the end of today's 15 questions you should know in Spanish. So I hope it was useful for you, and thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye. Please tell me everything about you. Where do you work? Hello, this is Rosa. Welcome to Spanish Top Words. Today we'll be doing must-know expressions for agreeing and disagreeing. ¿Puedo añadir algo aquí? Can I add something here? ¿Puedo añadir algo aquí? Can I add something here? So it's a polite way to interrupt someone who's talking. ¿Qué opinas? What do you think? ¿Qué opinas? What do you think? Always nice to ask for others' opinions. Así es exactamente como me siento. That's exactly how I feel. Así es exactamente como me siento. That's exactly how I feel. Yeah, nice expression to agree with someone when you're having like a deeper conversation, I would say. Eso es cierto. That's true. Eso es cierto. That's true. You're learning Spanish? That's true. Es cierto. No estoy de acuerdo. No. I don't agree. No. No estoy de acuerdo. No. I don't agree. No. One time is not enough. You have to, repeat it at the end. No hay duda de eso. No doubt about it. No hay duda de eso. No doubt about it. So if someone would tell me, oatmeal is an awesome breakfast food, I could say, no doubt about it. No hay duda de eso. No podría estar más de acuerdo contigo. I couldn't agree with you more. No podría estar más de acuerdo contigo. I couldn't agree with you more. Sushi is the best food ever. I couldn't agree with you more. No podría estar más de acuerdo contigo. Sí, tienes razón. Yes, you're right. Sí, tienes razón. Yes, you're right. SpanishPod101.com is the best way to learn Spanish. Yes, you're right. Vamos a seguir adelante, ¿vale? Let's just move on, shall we? Vamos a seguir adelante, ¿vale? Let's just move on, shall we? If some discussion is getting a little bit too heated at some point, you just can say that and try to move on to another topic. Exactamente. Exactly. Exactamente. Exactly. He should take better care of his health. Exactly. Exactamente. And this is the end. Today we did must-know expressions for agreeing and disagreeing. I hope you liked them. Tell us which one was your favorite. Please don't forget to check out SpanishPod101.com and please subscribe to this channel. Bye! Hasta pronto! Hi everyone, I'm Rosa and today we'll be doing the 10 phrases you always want to hear in Spanish. So let's begin! El presupuesto es ilimitado. The budget is unlimited. For example, if you are at a fancy restaurant and the other person tells you the budget is unlimited. El presupuesto es ilimitado. You can eat all you want. Yay! Eres una excelente cocinera. You are an excellent cook. It always feels nice to know that you can do tasty things. Habrá un extra al final de mes, which means there'll be a bonus at the end of the month. Sounds great! Te echo de menos. I miss you. I haven't met you, but I miss you already. Te traje algo especial. I brought you something special. What could it be? Te ves muy bien hoy. You look great today. You look great today. All of you. Yes, you. Tenías razón. You were right. It always feels good to be right. Yeah. Y tú ganas, which means, and you win. And what is it that I win? Te quiero, which means I love you. Well, in my case, I love the viewers that leave me nice comments. Eres tan inteligente, which is you are so smart. This is the end of today's 10 phrases you always want to hear in Spanish. I hope you like them and thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. Bye. ¿Eres una persona creativa? You are a creative person. one of the compliments I like to hear the most. Oh no, please.
Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: what are some popular Spanish idioms? In English, we have our fair share of idioms like "it's raining cats and dogs" or even "what's up?" Here are some Spanish idioms you should know. Number 10 is estar empanado, meaning to be spaced out. Literally, it means to be breaded. In Spain, we have a lot of breaded foods like la empanada gallega. So every time your mind freezes and you can think, you're getting empanado or empanada. Number 9 is dormir como un tronco, meaning to sleep like a trunk. This means that you slept very well. For example, he dormido como un tronco, meaning I slept like a trunk. Number 8, chorizo, means sausage. And if you are carnivorous, you are going to find Spanish chorizo delicious. But don't be surprised if you hear this word in reference to a person. That means they are a thief, burglar, or swindler. Number 7 is one that doesn't make much sense, but you'll often hear. It is hace un tiempo de perros. Literally, it's a dog weather, meaning it's terrible weather. Number 6 is a phonetic challenge. Que chorrada. Chorrada, wow, sounds difficult. We have the CH and a double R. So what does chorrada mean? If we say que chorrada, we are expressing that something is not important, has no sense, or is absurd. Number 5 is costar un ojo de la cara, which means it's ridiculously expensive, but it literally means it costs an eye out of the head. Number 4, aprobar por los pelos, literally means to pass by the hair, referring to an exam. If you say aprobé por los pelos, you're saying that you got the lowest score or close to it, but passed the exam. Hopefully, you don't use this expression too much. Number 3 is que guay, meaning cool. Here we have a very useful multi-purpose word. Do you want to go to the beach? Guay. Do you like my trousers? Que guays. How was the party last night? Muy guay. It's similar to good, okay, perfect, or beautiful. However, be careful. It should only be used in casual or colloquial situations. Number 2 is tener un cacao. Literally translated, it means to have a cacao. However, the real meaning is to have a lot of trouble or to be in a mess. Lastly, number 1 is tener el guapo subido, which literally means to have the good looking up. The meaning of this may be easy for you to guess. You can use this phrase when suddenly one of your friends looks stunning. ¿Te ha pasado algo bueno? Hoy tienes el guapo subido. Did anything good happen to you? Today you're looking handsome. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta luego, see you later! Hello everyone, I'm Rosa and this is Spanish Weekly Words and I'm about to discover what the theme for this week is. It is life events. The first word is nacer, to be born. Nací en Motril, en un pueblo de Granada. I was born in Motril, in a town in Granada. Graduación, which means graduation. Me gradué de biotecnología en julio. I graduated from biotechnology in July. The next word is boda, which means wedding. Me gustan las bodas porque puedes comer mucho. I like weddings because you can eat a lot. The next word is promoción, which means promotion. Lo promocionaron y ahora es jefe. He got promoted and now he's the boss. Morir, to die. Cuando su hámster se murió, ella lloró mucho. When her hamster died, she cried a lot. This is Diane. I hope you learned something useful and also hope to see you next week. Bye!
Want to finally start speaking in your target language? In this guide, you'll discover the top 7 ways to practice speaking on your own with our lessons. Let's begin. Number 1, shadowing. Shadowing is a proven learning technique where all you do is repeat what you hear in order to practice speaking. So access any audio or video lesson on the site and press the play button to start. Then, as you listen or watch, just repeat the conversations. Or, even easier, read along out loud with the dialogue section. The script is right there in front of you. With our lessons, you can master entire conversations, just like that. Number 2, read out loud. I just mentioned it, but reading out loud is another powerful tactic and deserves its own mention. With every lesson, you get written transcripts and translations. So, as you play the lesson, read the dialogue out loud as you hear it. Why? By reading out loud, you're also practicing your speaking skills. You can do this with the lesson notes, the lesson transcript, or the dialogue tool. With the dialogue tool, you can listen to each line again and again, and repeat out loud until you master them all. Number 3, speed up your reading to speed up your speaking. Being able to speak without thinking is a sign of language mastery. If you're talking to a native and can respond quickly, they'll assume that you're fairly fluent. How can you do this? When you read out loud, try increasing your speed a little bit every time. So, start by reading with the dialogue tool. If you're like most learners, you'll read the first line slowly. That's because you're still getting used to the words, which is okay. Reread it. On your second try, you know most of the words, and you'll read a little faster. Reread it again. On your third try, you'll be even faster, at a native speaker's speed. And being able to read these phrases out loud and fast will help you speak fast. Number 4, record and compare yourself with native speakers. In order to sound like a native speaker, you must imitate native speakers. So here's how. Access the voice recorder, which is in the Dialogue Study tool in every lesson. Click on the microphone icon. Listen to the native speaker's audio, and then record yourself. You can then compare the 2 recordings side by side, and practice and try again and again until you perfect your pronunciation. Number 5, get feedback from our Premium Plus teacher. If you're learning by yourself and don't have access to real teachers, then you can always get feedback from our Premium Plus teachers. With the My Teacher tool, you can record yourself speaking and send the audio file to the teacher. They'll review it and tell you what to improve and how. That's it. Number 6, level up your speaking with Premium Plus assignments. With Premium Plus, you can also get assignments that cover reading, writing, listening, and even speaking from your teacher. These assignments can be tailored to your goals and needs. You get a new one every week, or anytime you're ready for a new one. Number 7, get even more lessons in the lesson library. If you want even more lessons on speaking and conversations, visit our lesson library and under Category, choose Conversation. You'll get all of the pathways and lessons that are focused on speaking. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share it with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way, and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is, how do I use Spanish punctuation? Just like in English, punctuation marks are used to provide emphasis, to indicate pauses and intonation changes, and to guide people through the meaning of our expressions. Let's take a look to the basic uses of punctuation marks in Spanish. The first one is el punto. This literally means the dot, but you may know it better as the period in American English or full stop in British English. It's used to mark the ending of a sentence or complete thought. After using a punto, the next word should be capitalized. For example, Juan viene hoy. Mis amigos vendrán mañana. This means Juan is coming today, my friends will come tomorrow. Next, we have la coma or the comma. This indicates a short pause in a sentence, and its usage is similar to English. For example, viajaré por Andalucía, Zaragoza y Toledo, meaning I will travel to Andalucía, Zaragoza and Toledo. This one sounds different from the English version. El punto y coma. This literally means the dot and comma, but you may know it better as the semicolon. It's used to divide related sections in a single sentence. For example, hoy veremos un buen partido. Sin embargo, creo que mi equipo perderá. Meaning, today we will see a good match. However, I think my team will lose. We can also use the punto y coma in a longer sentence that already has commas. For example, Ana fue al museo, Carlos a la biblioteca y David a la universidad. Meaning, Ana went to the museum, Carlos to the library, and David to the university. Unlike the punto or coma, the punto y coma really depends on the writer's discretion. As a general rule, use the punto y coma if you feel the two sentences are closely related enough to make them into one sentence. After a punto y coma, you always have a lowercase letter. Let's move on to two more punctuation marks you may be familiar with, the signos de interrogación and exclamación. The signos de interrogación is better known in English as the question mark and is used in interrogative sentences. The exclamación sounds similar to the English exclamation point and works the same way. It's used to express surprise, anger, or any other strong emotions. Remember that in Spanish, you could write an inverted question mark or exclamation mark at the beginning of the sentence in addition to the mark at the end. Some examples are: ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? ¡Socorro! Help! And vamos, let's go! Finally, the colon, which is dos puntos, ellipsis, which is puntos suspensivos, parenthesis, which is paréntesis, and comillas, which is quotation marks, are used the same way in English as in Spanish. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta la próxima! Until next time! Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: how do you use adjectives as nouns in Spanish? In Spanish, we can omit the noun and use the adjective as the noun. When an adjective is used as a noun, we call it adjetivo sustantivado, which means adjective used as a noun. Does that sound confusing? Let's go through some examples. Let's say you are at a furniture store and you want to buy a chair. If we are looking at a bunch of different colored chairs, you can use la silla roja to refer to the red chair. However, in this case, you've already mentioned the chairs and their colors, so you can just say la roja, which means the red one. By using an article with an adjective, you can make it a noun. In this case, we use la because la silla, the chair, is feminine. Then, we added the adjective roja to make la roja to mean the red chair. Likewise, if you're discussing different colored hats, you'd use the masculine noun sombrero. That means we have to change la to the masculine article el. Then, if you would like to buy the red hat, you would say el rojo, por favor, meaning the red one, please. Take into consideration that the adjective has to match the noun in gender and number. Silla is a feminine noun, so we use roja, which is also feminine. Sombrero is a masculine noun, so we use rojo, which is also masculine. Superlatives can also become nouns in Spanish. Apart from the direct translation of the best, which is el mejor o la mejor, you can use any adjective, plus an article, plus either más for most, or menos for least to make a superlative sentence. Más on its own means more, but with an article it means most. Take el más grande, for example. Grande means big, so el grande means the big one in general. But if you said el más grande, that means the biggest one. Similarly to más, menos means less on its own, but least with an article. La menos rápida, for example, literally means the least fast one, or more naturally, the slowest. It's important to know that because we use la in this sentence, we know that we are talking about a feminine noun. If we were talking about a masculine noun, the sentence could be el menos rápido. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta luego, see you soon! Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: why is the adjective sometimes written before the noun in Spanish? In Spanish, adjectives are usually placed after the noun, but sometimes adjectives precede the noun. When that happens, some adjectives change their meaning. If we use these adjectives before the noun, the meaning is objective or descriptive. When it's placed after the noun, as usual, the meaning is subjective or connotative. Let's go through some examples so you can learn how to use adjectives before nouns correctly in Spanish. Let's take the adjective pobre, meaning poor. If you put the word pobre before the noun man, which is hombre, then the speaker could be implying that the pobre hombre, poor man, is someone he or she pities or someone who deserves sympathy. However, if you switch them, the phrase becomes hombre pobre. This would quite literally mean a man who has no money. Let's do another example with the adjective viejo, meaning old. If you add viejo to the word friend, which is amigo, you will get the phrase viejo amigo, old friend. In this case, viejo represents the length of time the speaker has been friends with that person. The same way you would say old friend in English. However, if you were to reverse the phrase and say amigo viejo, then you would be literally talking about a friend who is elderly. An important point to remember is that if the adjective is talking about the quality of a noun that's always the same, the position of the adjective doesn't change the meaning. For example, oscura noche or noche oscura both mean dark night, because night is always dark. The same way that fría nieve or nieve fría both mean cold snow, because snow is always cold. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta luego, see you soon!
To master a new language and understand everything as soon as you hear it, to read with just a quick glance and speak smoothly without thinking, you need to review. Here are our top 5 review tactics. Number 1. Listen to examples over and over again. By listening closely and often, you start to pick up the rhythm of a language, as well as correct pronunciation from a native speaker. Use our line-by-line feature that lets you both listen and read along. Use this tool to practice as much as possible. Number 2. Use our voice recording tool to master perfect pronunciation. Record yourself and compare it against the native speaker. If you sound different, then repeat after the native speaker until you're able to match them. Use our voice recording feature, which makes recording super easy. Number 3. Master your recorded conversations. Record conversations and go over them again and again. Master entire conversations and repeat them line by line. Use any of the dialogues available for download on our website. These come with transcripts of the entire conversation. Number 4. Use mobile devices to reinforce previously learned conversations. Constant review is the best way to progress in your language studies. Download the recorded dialogue to your mobile device and incorporate it into your music playlist. Quick reviews throughout the day effectively reinforce what you've learned. Number 5. Read with line-by-line notes. Read along with a native speaker to really master pronunciation and natural intonation. You should start slow at first, then slowly increase your speed. Your pronunciation will become more natural. You will also see that your ability to understand fluent speakers will greatly increase. You'll be able to improve your communication skills using these 5 simple review techniques. Increase your understanding of your target language. And remember, if you're interested in getting all these review tools, sign up for your free lifetime account. No credit card required, and you'll get the best free online resources. And start reviewing more every day.